So I'm going to share the screen with you now and share. So everyone can see the presentation, am I right? If you just get a thumbs up, yeah. Cool, so I'll go on to the first slide. So I'm just going to admit that person. So just a little bit about me. I started working in video in 2004. It was actually Danny that gave me my first freelance job, which was great to work on. So that's kind of, I think we met a little bit a few years before that. I did my HND at Salford Uni in media production, and then from there I went straight to working in live TV. Nothing too glamorous, it was shopping TV, but you learn a lot. You learn to kind of think on your feet and react to kind of things that are going on in front of you. So that was some really good experience there. I've then moved on to being an Apple creative, and I was their video specialist at the Trafford Centre Apple store. So it was my job to teach video editing, photo editing, and all the things around that to anyone coming in for the training. So, you know, we had people from wanting to edit home videos to BBC editors who needed to retrain in Final Cut Pro, and it was Apple directly who they came to do that training with. But the best thing about working there was the actual creative community that was actually in that store. The amount of talent that was there. There's people that are friends, colleagues, and clients right now. There's people I met in that store 15 years ago that are regular clients or colleagues and people I freelance with. So that creative community is something really strong, and the people I've met there have gone into some great things, which I'll loop back to a little bit later on. So during that time, I was also doing wedding photo and video, which again, a lot of experience, and the purpose there being to tell a story of the day, but also you've got one chance to tell that story. So it was great to have that experience, and that actually took me all over Europe. Sort of been to Italy, been to France, been to Switzerland, and then the bucket list one was Iceland. I actually shot a wedding in a cave in the middle of Iceland, which was incredibly interesting. Not great for lighting, but it was incredibly good. And then I've been freelancing, so that took me to 2019, and I decided to leave weddings and just focus on the commercial and the marketing aspect. And I freelanced for quite a bit, but I decided the best thing to do was start my own company and try and scale from there. So that brings us all up today. My details are there on the bottom if you want to follow me. Instagram, you've got my email there, and LinkedIn if you want to connect with me. I'll accept any requests. And so let's go on to the first point that I need to make, which is video is not a luxury anymore. It's no longer large businesses that have got extra marketing spend that they can afford to do this. This is something that's accessible to literally like somebody running a business out of their back bedroom to major businesses. And the reason for that is, I mean, these are stats from 2018, is that brands who use video enjoy 41% more web traffic from search engines than ones that don't. So I suppose this started quite a long time ago when Google bought YouTube. They obviously want to accelerate their platform, and YouTube being essentially a search engine. So having videos appear quite high in the search results nowadays is actually a lot more common. So a video is actually going to rank possibly higher than some just web searches. So that's an important point to make. But also, after watching a product video, consumers are 85% more likely to buy. I know that works with me. If I can see how something works, even if it's a piece of clothing, I can see how it fits, how it, when the person moves, how that fits. I'm more likely to kind of go through the process and possibly purchase it. So video allows you to tell quite a good story in a very short space of time, that, maybe an amazing photo will be able to tell, but video you know, a video on a phone could actually do probably a better job. So this is the big one. Calls to action get 380% more clicks when placed on videos. So this is why you hear people on YouTube asking for the subscription, asking for the like, because if you don't ask, you don't get sometimes. But after showing people something on a video and then asking them and telling them exactly what you want to do, it's a lot more effective. So these stats actually came from an article on Wix's blog, and it was back in 2018. So when I was kind of researching what I was going to say, these stats, I knew the effect that it had, but these numbers actually kind of shocked me a little bit of how effective it is. So moving on to kind of late last year, this guy, I hope everyone knows who this is. This is Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram. He basically declared towards the end of last year that Instagram is not a photo platform anymore. It's video is their main thing. And that has just flipped the whole platform on its head. Most adverts that you see now on the platform are video based. There's a lot more, although they haven't in no way perfected delivering video on the platform, in my opinion. You see a lot more video in the feed before you see photos. And it's changed the way we have to think about making videos, which I'll touch on a little bit later, because all video starts with the sound off, so we've got to take things into consideration. So that's where video is kind of growing in importance, and as we go along with social media and marketing, video is just even more important, and that's where getting it right from the start that's the key. So if I go to the next slide and talk about the strategy of it, going back maybe 10-15 years ago when we were making videos, the goal was to get a 5-minute video that told the audience everything they needed to know in one video, and that was costly. We're talking 4 or 5 days filming, 3-4 weeks on an edit. It was quite costly, and it was quite drawn out, and probably by the end of the project you're a little bit bored, and it was a case of getting that video right. The amount of revisions and tweaks that it was made just to get it absolutely perfect was insane, because this was the one video that company was going to make for literally the next 3 to 5 years. So the way you had to think about a video was a lot different. You had to think long term. You had to account for how that business might change and be probably a little bit more generic and tell sometimes quite a vague story and use generic phrases. Even using more actors in just corporate videos, just because they wanted to make sure that video was still usable even if that member of staff had left. And that is the old strategy. Nowadays, marketing and video they've kind of embarked on this marriage. It wasn't until maybe 5-6 years ago that we really started working quite closely with marketing departments. Normally it was like project managers or maybe in the communications team that we used to work with. Now we're working directly with marketing managers, marketing executives, marketing agencies, because it's the video and the actual let someone else in. The video and the campaign are one in the same, and they really need to complement each other, and we have to look at the bigger picture of the whole campaign and where the video actually sits in that campaign. Is this something that's going to be the entrance to a sales funnel? Is it going to be something further down the line? Is it going to be the last call to action, or is there going to be videos at every stage? We need to really think about that as the strategy for the video, and that's where this term of let's just say job title or business kind of function of video strategist has appeared in the last maybe 2 to 3 years. of not only creating the videos, but creating the strategy of how to actually use that video within the business, within a marketing strategy. So there's a few types of videos that we can actually insert into a marketing campaign, whether it's just simple brand awareness or if there's a specific action that you're trying to collect. And the first one is the hero video, and this is generally when I'm working with a new client, this is the thing that we're working on first. We're working on their hero video, which is essentially what would have been the corporate video, but it's a lot more streamlined and it's a lot more focused. Like I said before, we'd be working on a 5-minute corporate video. Now our target is 60 seconds, because if it can't fit on an Instagram feed, if it can't fit on like Instagram Reels, I know TikTok is like 3 minutes now, then it's not that versatile. And we really need to think about where the video is going to be seen. We can't just think of it in terms of just one widescreen video. We actually have to, when we're filming it, we have to take into consideration portrait crops. We have to take into consideration square crops. So we have to frame, that our skills as just videographers have to be different. We have to think about a lot more things when we're filming it. So the hero video, which I'll show, I have an example to show in a little bit. That's replacing the old corporate video, and it is an introduction into who you are, what you do, and why you do it. Watch that one more in. And sorry, one more. So this is generally the entry point, and what we're trying to do is to make this as effective as possible for that client, because if they have a good experience with the hero video, they're going to come back for more and they're going to want to break things down quite a bit. And this is where supporting things like case studies really work, and they're so powerful. So one of my clients who is they're financial services, and they're one of those financial services. When you first hear about what they do, you're thinking, nah, it doesn't sound right. There's no way that I'm going to get free money from the government for you helping me this. And just having those case studies of some of their clients talk about, just for a bit of background, they actually claim research and development credits for businesses. So anytime a business does research into a new method, new materials, anything like that, they can claim money back from the government. And the stories we told were companies that were some where they were struggling to pay staff and they were struggling to survive, especially through COVID, and through the help that my client gave them, they were able to claim back in some cases like £100,000, which kept them going and enabled them to hire new staff. And those case studies of just showing how powerful their service is and the effect that it has really worked well for them. And it's not so much of a hard sell anymore. So the hero video actually gets sparks the interest, and then the supporting case studies actually just solidify that. And then we look at retargeting. So anyone in marketing will probably have a strategy for a retargeting campaign, and we can create retargeting content based on the assumption that they've seen things already. So they have some prior knowledge of what that service is, what that product is, what's on offer, what the effects are. So we can then create video content that is specific to kind of just closing that getting that lead, closing the sale. And it's a very strategic bit of video that we use prior knowledge to kind of drive the content a little bit. And you can then also give a more detailed pitch. So if you were talking to a lead, you can just we can have a video that kind of just goes into details. So explainer videos. Also use these for like how-to and educational videos on how to use a service, how to use a product. I know that if I'm signing up for a service, especially for my business, if there's a good video library of how to use it and how to make the best out of it, then that's going to work really well. because that's what I use. If I need to know how to do something, I go and look for a video on how to do it, just like most people do on YouTube. So for instance, one of my clients, they're a training center, and a way they've kind of grown their audience is that they train people how to fit like electric vehicle charge points, for instance. But then they've created video content on just how to do general electrical things around the home, just so that they can be associated more with the electrical industry. And that's really helped them as well. I think that one of their most successful videos is what's in an electrician's kit bag. And that is by far one of their most high performing videos. And they've created a YouTube channel around this, and it's working for them quite well. And when you look at their website analytics, more referrals now come from YouTube than they do from Instagram, for instance. So we can use videos like that. And then actually a video that I use personally in my business, when someone does fire off that inquiry to me, the thank you page actually shows a video of just thanking them for their inquiry, but also informing them what's going to happen next. You know, how long it'll take for me to get in touch, what we'll talk about, what they'll find out after they get that lead, after I respond. So they've got a really clear idea of how that's going to work. So the point I'm trying to make here is multiple videos is the key. 10, 30-second videos is a lot better than 1 5-minute video. This is going to be a lot more usable. You can spread the content out across a longer period of time. Any story you're trying to tell, break it down into the component parts. Really kind of take one element of a story, one element of a product, one element of a service, and focus on that. I know when I'm looking for services, there are certain features that I'm looking for, and I want to know more about one particular feature maybe. So that's breaking it down that way. You can also sell the same service, but by targeting different demographics. So anyone who's in digital marketing and maybe doing an organic or a paid campaign, they're targeting different demographics. Have video content that speaks to those different demographics. You show different people, you show even different languages in the same content that's going to all these different demographics. And really important, we need to be platform aware, because if we're making a video to go on a certain platform, it's got to work with what works on that platform, and we need to know how to actually get the best out of that platform. So for instance, Instagram videos start playing with the sound off, so there needs to be, within the first 3 seconds, there needs to be some text on the screen that they might grab their attention, that they need to actually switch the sound on. So we use captions for that. We'll burn the captions in. One thing I like to do is flash up like key features with animated text, just to grab the attention, just to make them switch the sound on and listen to you. If you have got someone talking, you need to get them on screen sooner rather than later, just so they know that somebody is speaking to them. So being platform aware is really important. So I'm going to show you some examples now. So I hope the audio is going to play out through here, but it should pick up through my mic anyway. So this is a video that I made for they're a company in Manchester. They make sports supplements, and they target specifically bodybuilders, powerlifters, people who do strong men / women competitions. So they wanted a testimonial of their product from one of their sponsored athletes. So this athlete is Kira, and as she'll tell you, she's the youngest pro bodybuilder and powerlifter in the UK. So she competes and she trains really hard for what she does, and she's talking about how this product helps her with that. So Danny, if you just wave if the sound's not coming through, but hopefully it will. So I'll play that.
Hi, my name is Kira. I'm currently the youngest IFBB physical pro in Europe. I'm also a worldwide elite powerlifter, and I'm part of the Purposeful team. So focus for me is one of the most important factors when it comes to training, especially now that I'm training for bodybuilding and powerlifting. I need to focus for my top working sets and reps when it comes to my powerlifting training, and I also need to focus to carry through my bodybuilding training, which I tend to do after my powerlifting training. It's a super long session and it carries me throughout. I've been using the Conviction product from Purposeful for about 4 or 5 months now, and it's honestly transformed my sessions. Conviction gives you a massive high, and the focus is just incredible throughout the session, but there is no come down.
So that video actually would sit on the product page for that product. Just to with this kind of industry, the customers, they already know roughly what the product does. So it's more about talking about the effects and why, and kind of prodding some of the pain points. So there's the point she made there with no come down, which I know these kind of pre-workout products, having used them myself, they do make you kind of buzz a little bit and feel horrible afterwards. So it was important to get that pain point in there. We did do a shorter version, which lives on Instagram Reels and on the feed, and the feedback's been really good from this. The location we also chose to use was in this industry. That gym and that chain of gyms is actually probably one of the best in the UK. So getting in there to be able to film there, everyone in that industry knows that place. So it was really important to get there. So that was a good product video / testimonial, which talks about the main things there of that product and why they should choose that product over another one. So I'm going to go to the next one. So this one. So I'm going to give you a bit of a backstory on this one. So this is a video for a company called Crumb Vegan Donuts. So if anyone's in Manchester, there is Escape to Freight Island, which is the old freight terminal at Piccadilly Station, and it's been turned into this outdoor venue. And the person who actually created this brand is my old boss from Apple. So when I was an Apple creative, he was my lead creative. And so this is where that connection and the community that was there at Apple, that existed, and the connections that we made. So I first met Dan, who owns the brand, in 2006, and I was actually his replacement for that role. And he moved to another store, but then came back to be our supervisor, our lead. So I've known him since 2006, and he left to pursue. He's got lots of different food brands, and this is one of them. And being a proud vegan myself and a lover of donuts, this was an absolute joy to work on. So the idea was we needed to get in the branding, the location, and the product really quickly, and then we needed to show that having one of these donuts was an experience and not just eating a donut. And I can attest that eating these donuts is an absolute experience. So we actually put this video together very, very quickly, and it was filmed in maybe under an hour. And the talent that we used, I was very fortunate to get this talent because she's my wife, so I kind of roped her in. But we managed to kind of pull this off really quickly and get this out there. And again, we did a version for Reels, we did a version for the feed for Facebook, and this is the widescreen version that I just put on YouTube. So it's a very, very quick video, and hope you enjoy it. So you all want a donut now, I bet. They are really good, by the way. The initial first few frames there, we got the branding in really quick. We got the fact that it was a donut, and then we got the Freight Island logo on the shirt of the server. So we had to get those in really, really quick, because at the time we filmed this, Freight Island had literally been open 2 weeks. I actually went on the opening night just to try them for the first time when we started talking about doing the video, and it was, people still didn't know what Freight Island was, although their marketing was incredibly strong. So this was also piggybacking on what Freight Island were doing as a brand themselves, and we picked music that was that would kind of tell that story of that it's an experience. It was actually quite. I think the word that we used to try and describe it was like, it's eating one of these donuts is quite sexy. So we were wanting to go for that, but we wanted to. So we matched sort of my wife there with the sunglasses, kind of the cardigan over the shoulders. This donut, I can't remember the name of it, but it was quite a. It was quite fancy, the name, so we wanted to kind of have that lady kind of enjoying the experience, kind of harking back to the old like Flake adverts. So really enjoyed working on that one, and it did really well for them. So the next one, so this is actually quite a recent one that I've just had to upload really quick. So this is a gym that's one of my clients, and they had a situation a few weeks ago where their competitor that was 10 minutes down the road actually closed down. So there was a lot of potential gym members out there looking for a new gym. And we also found out that the owners of that old gym had actually told everybody that this gym here doesn't have a gym, it's just personal training. So we needed to get that message across really quick and show what this gym was about. And I think with this and a bit of a paid campaign, the membership increased by like 50 to 60 members, which is just insane. So like financially, it did very, very well. So let's just play this one back.
With over 40 hand-picked quality machines, fully equipped cardio section and more, our gym has everything you need to succeed. Don't waste your time in a commercial gym. Join up today, www.metcongyms.co.uk. £20 a month off peak memberships and £25 a month including peak time. See you all soon.
So a lot of attitude there. So Joe he's actually a professional bodybuilder, and he's actually really quiet. So he kind of pulled this one off really well. So this was actually put together, and this is the benefit of working with a videographer long term, is that we had a lot of the footage already, and we just needed to film the piece to camera and put the concept together, and then we could delve into the archives and just pull the footage in. So again, this was put together incredibly quickly because we had literally all the B-roll. It was just a case of going in, filming the piece to camera. This was one of 2 promos we did for there's another side of the business, the group training. So we did that, but that was more for the current audience already, because they were doing a new phase. But this was specifically to grab new members. And like I said, it performed really good. The first few frames, get the branding in really quick. I get the branding because everyone's, all the staff are all branded up, just easy to kind of like have a back of the shirt and just zoom in and out really quick, just to really focus it on. And again, just put the main points on the screen, like membership prices, how many machines they've got, things like that. So how are we doing for time? So we're doing okay. So the last video I want to show you is a video that was made specifically for Instagram Reels. This is for a trainer called Lucy Luchetti, who is she's in her early 20s, early stages of the business, but doing really well. and she just wanted to kind of up the game of her social media content. So we made this as a hero video. She does have lots of other broken down videos that she can use periodically and repost and reuse. But whenever she's having a new intake for her program, this is the video that she runs to get leads. And she's actually fully booked now, which is really good. So this video, like I said, we did it specifically for Instagram Reels. It's a female-only program, and she really wanted to focus on lots of different types of women, lots of different age groups, and just being strong. So we just had this concept of each of the participants they were doing a single lift, and they did a few reps, and they just dropped it like it didn't even weigh anything and just walk off. So that was the goal with this one, and we chose a song which had perfect lyrics, which was the song was called The Queen. It was about being strong and female, and it's a royalty-free track, so we looked out on that one. So the lyrics of the song actually really matched the video and the intent of it. So let's hit the play button on that one.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I is and who I be. They stop and stay when they see me. If instead of once, no need to repeat. Run up on me, watch you fall to your knees. Tip my hat when it's time for the kill. Ain't no peace when you really real. I am the boss, I am the dawn. I am the one they call Lucky Charm. Got my own shit, I don't need your farm. Life was so hard, it made me weak. Built to last, this girl ain't weak. Sturdy and still when I plant my feet. Got it out the mud, now it's back to my sleep. Look to God, he supplies my needs. Endless faith is what brought me next level prosperity. Sign of power moves is what I'm giving. They love to hate the world, you can't live it. Always present for the high roads. Go swim within the deep. Knows. What told the future? Who knows? I don't do it for the likes, I do it for the love. Do it for the ones who really needed hug, cause they had it tough, and I had enough. Feared, love, and respected. Using words as a weapon. Test and she. Hurry up quick, that head face coming soon. Sit up straight when she enters the room.
So yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that one. The camera was actually mounted on its side to film that, so filming it for because it was only going on a portrait platform, we actually filmed it that way, which was a lot easier to do when we kind of just focusing on that. But because it was the same set, we had to be quite creative about how we transitioned from each one. So there was lots of camera spins and kind of, whip the camera out so that we can then whip back into another shot. But the results that she got from that, like, fantastic. And there's messages from her literally like a couple of days ago saying I need more. So it obviously works for her. So just looking at the time, I think I'm just going to go through this slide, and then I've got one on the hook. I'll skip the next couple and we'll go for a Q&A if that's okay. So when we're thinking about a video, we think about what the message is. Is it an introduction? Is it talking about your values? Are you showing a product or service? Are you educating your audience? What you're offering? Is it a case study? Entertaining? So we always ask that, ask the client, like, what's the message in this video? What do you actually want to say? And who are we talking to? This goes down to music choice, location, who's in the video. There's that kind of that rule of, like, if you're trying to sell to a specific person, show them a picture of themselves. So we need to make sure we're talking to the right people. What platforms they're using, when are they likely to view it, how do we appeal to them visually, and what their expectations are. So if we're trying to make a video for a business that's going on LinkedIn, the key times are the commuting times. So we need to think, right, we definitely need captions, we need subtitles. We can't have anything too pounding, because if you do switch the sound on and they're on the train, they don't want to hear that. So we got to think about things like that. And then what action do we want them to take? So I always ask the client is, like, after watching this video, what do you want them to do? What's your end game with this? Do you want them to buy something? Do you want them to send you an email? Do you want them to call you? Anything that call to action is we'll then work backwards from there, and then back to the beginning, and we'll start the beginning with the hook. Now I'm going to show you an example of a hook. So I came across this a few days ago, and I was like, all right, now this is actually a BMW advert. And the first few frames, I was like, what's this? And then I looked up about whose account it was on, and it was on Arnold Schwarzenegger's account. And I was like, that hook, the hook wasn't the video, the hook was whose account it was posted on. And that actually kept me kept me watching it. So it's just a screen record, so I'll just show the first few frames. So so you can see there, I'm not really interested, and then I see whose account it is, and then you see him, and then he's dressed in this outfit like Zeus, and all of a sudden you want to keep watching. So a hook doesn't have to be something, you don't have to do a silly dance or anything just to get someone to watch the video. It can be very, very subtle. And I think sometimes the mistake people make with hooking people into a video is they try and be too elaborate from the get-go. Simply showing the right person or the right message or having the right music track at the beginning, or even if you're using influencers, like this is probably one of the biggest influencers, literally, can actually affect kind of people watching the video all the way to the end and taking action for it. So just to go to the end, the call to the action at the end was BMW's logo and saying something's coming on February 13th, which there's no cars and nothing. I assume it's something to do with an electric car, but yeah, it's quite interesting that that's how they did it. So looking at the time now, if we skip over to the Q&A. So Danny, do you want me to make you the host?
I think if you stay the host, Andy, I think you can still hear me, can't you?
Yes, I'll stop sharing the screen. So
that's fine. We both just back on video, and then does anyone have any questions? I've got lots of questions, Andy, if no one else has. I've got a ton of them written down, but so maybe I'll just start asking you, and then if anyone else has got any questions, feel free to either basically request to come on video or basically type them in the comments box. I'm sure there's lots of questions out there. So first kind of question, Andy, is how if I'm a business and I've never been involved with video before, how do I get started? What is it I need kind of to get started shooting video?
So I think you've got to have a I suppose you need to start thinking about the strategy of it. Do you have a marketing department? Do you outsource your marketing? That strategy there is really important. So many businesses have actually been in touch with me and told me they want a video on something, and then after you dig a little deeper, it's like they need something completely different. So I suppose, actually, to answer your question, the first thing they need is a very, very open mind, and allow somebody to actually just look into their business and see what would actually work and what their needs are. And also, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of actually just contacting videographers or video production companies about this, because I find that businesses who have never done this before are absolutely petrified of the potential cost of it. That's because they haven't had any analysis done on what the potential returns might be. So I mean, I can give you an example of that at the moment. I know somebody is thinking about using me, but there's people I know that they're asking around everyone, trying to find out how much I charge and what I'd like to work with, and they're doing that before they actually make contact. So where I've just said, just tell them to get in touch, there's no harm in it. So I think you need to look at that strategy and actually just talk to people in that field.
Cool. Any other questions? Anybody? Come on, someone got a question. I'll have to ask them all. I've known Andy for years, so kind of we will go on all day. So I guess Go on. I think someone's about to ask. Go on.
Sorry, yes, thank you very much. That was really, really helpful and informative. Quite a few ideas. I work in a community center, so we don't have any budget, if anything, for productions like this. But should we want to spec something to tender out for somebody to help us out, how should we approach it to make it, return on investment type of thing? Focus on the center itself or have an appeal? For example, this year is our 40th birthday, but we want to inform people about the center as well.
So I think what you've got to do when you are trying to inform people about, number one, that you are there and you exist, I think you've got to talk about the benefits of the centre and what you actually give to that community. So I would look at talking about who you help, what the effects are, what the positive effects are, and really kind of like double down on that, because generally with a video you want to find a problem and then offer the solution, and if your solution is kind of the role that your community centre plays and the effects that it has on the people that go there, you kind of need to start with the problem that you then solve and you are the solution to, and then call to action of what you actually want them to do with that information. Do you want them to come and visit you, get in touch, or just come and talk to you? So that's the process that you really need to think about with that.
So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's really good advice. Any more questions? Like we're offering free consultancy here. So
yeah, I've got a question.
Yep.
Yeah, with regard to the hooking video, what you called it, how do I get the celebrities or celebrity image or any kind? Or how do I get it? How do you embed it into the video?
So I think if we class them as influencers, because there's some social media influencers that are not technically celebrities that have probably got a bigger following. So you need to find them, these influencers that are have an audience that you want to tap into. So you really need to know who your audience is first of all, and then find the influencers in that space. Now, a lot of these influencers actually, if you go into their bio, actually have a contact or a management contact that you can just straight contact them and begin talking. That the higher the follower count, the more expensive it's going to be. But you know that there are people with like followings of like 30, 40,000 that might charge like £200 for something, or there's, if you go higher up into the hundreds of thousands, it might be a few £1,000s. So you really need to know who your audience is and then try and match that with an influencer in that space. I think if you think of the service, if, for that example, BMW, they're huge, Arnold Schwarzenegger's huge, so they kind of they match up in the stature. If I wanted to get Arnold Schwarzenegger to promote my business, he probably would say no very politely, or would charge me an extortionate amount of money. So you really need to find someone who's either kind of similar sort of stature to what you're offering, and has a following, an audience that you could get the benefit from. And also a lot of these influencers, they won't, they're kind of gatekeepers to their own audience, so they won't actually take any endorsements, anything like that, unless they feel it's beneficial to their audience, because as soon as they start looking like a bit of a shill, they start losing their following.
And how about using a historical figure? Would it cost me any money?
Yes, probably, yeah.
Somebody not existing anymore. And
What
I
was that?
work
Sorry.
with historical, something of the past, but an image of the past, say
Right. Oh yes.
Herschel or say Mandela or whoever. Would
Yeah.
it cost
So
me?
there is there's copyright free. I think Danny, you might have to correct me on this. I think it's 90 years the copyright. Yeah. So anything that's older than a certain amount of time is not subject to copyright laws.
Yeah, that kind of stands for about 90 years, but it all depends on that person's estate. If the copyright's been renewed by their ancestors or their estate, then it can still stand. So you do need to check that.
Yeah, if you're trying to just deliver, if you do a post that's just like, oh, this is this person, and you're just saying something, you're generally all right. But if you're actually trying to grow a business with that, then a lot of these people have image rights and things like that, and they may not want to be associated with it and things like that. So it's a very, very you've got to be incredibly careful with that. So it's probably, I would look for another solution personally.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so and also Andy, kind of maybe it's worth just talking about people using music online, because I know that actually generally are allowed to use music, but you might end up with a big advert on you, kind of post from a competitor.
Yes.
So,
it's a very, very good subject, because a lot of clients will want a certain song, and I'm like, you really can't have that. There's a little hack that I'll tell you in a sec, but there's lots of these music libraries. There's a lot of music artists that just make for these libraries. I use one called Artlist. There's another one called Epidemic Sound, which is really good. But if you want to use a track that has been published by a record label, you will have to pay a lot of money if you want to use it, and if they let you use it. So to give you an example, me and a colleague were doing a film for Taylor Wimpey, the house builder, and it was 10 years ago maybe, and they wanted to use a track by Florence and the Machine, and they were quoted £15,000 just to use 30 seconds of that track. And they're Taylor Wimpey, they're a multi-million, £100 million company, and they were like, no, that's too much. So that's kind of the kind of fees that you're going to be looking at. Using these libraries are really good, because you pay a yearly membership, and you get access to that music, and you have the license to use that. Another way around it is, and a few of my clients have kind of used this, is Instagram Reels and TikTok. So because those platforms have the license to the music, what we actually did was we created a fake post. We added the music to the post that they wanted to use, and it automatically selects the actual section to use, because they have this trending audio, and we just recorded that. We then edited to that recording, then took the sound off and gave them the video with no sound. And what they did, they started the post, put the video on, and then added the music track from the platform. And that was a very, very clever way around it. And they got to use the music track they want without infringing anyone's copyright. And they had their reel. The only other thing they had to get around is they had to set their account to an entrepreneur account on Instagram, because if you set it as a business, it doesn't give you the full music library. So they set it to as an entrepreneur, which they are, and they managed to kind of do that as a little bit of a workaround there.
Awesome. Sounds fab. Okay, so we got our hand up, John. Have you got a question for Andy?
Yeah, I've just got a question. Have you ever used an iPhone or a Samsung to create any shots or a Trello or anything that you do that has proven to be efficient? Because the reason why I'm asking, my previous employer, he was really hesitant on buying a good quality camera to create advertisements on YouTube, and he said he really does believe that these would be efficient. So from your point of view, what do you think?
So my main opinion is that in the hands of a skilled operator, it doesn't matter what the camera is. If you know what you're doing with it, it can do the job. I have actually used it before for a YouTube channel, and it did work very well. However, there was quite a big budget on the lighting. So the more expensive the camera is, a general rule of thumb is the better it can perform in a variety of lighting situations. The lower quality of the camera, I'm not saying the iPhone or the Samsung is a low quality camera, but it's got a very, very tiny sensor, so it can only pick up so much light. If you put a budget into having good lighting, so for instance, I've got a key light up here, I've also got a backlight there. If this was on an iPhone, it would still look good because I've got the lighting set up and I've got the contrast set up between me and the background. So if you're using an iPhone or a smartphone, lighting is really the thing that you need to learn to make it look good. There are some apps on the iPhone. There's a really good one called Filmic Pro, which gives you tools like setting the frame rate, setting your focus point, setting your white balance, setting the exposure all independently. So things that the normal camera app does automatically for you, you can actually set this in. It's about £25 on the App Store. It's really good. There's that, and then probably the most important thing is audio. Where a lot of people's videos fall down is audio. We say, and this was something that was told literally on the first day when I went to university to study this, is people will tolerate a bad picture, but they will not tolerate bad sound. So if you can get your audio good, the visual quality, you can let it slide. All I would say on that is with the visual quality is the standards are a lot higher than they used to be. And for instance, if you're a premium brand and then you put a video out that doesn't look premium, it's not going to match up and it's going to look a bit odd. So the investment in actually producing the video really does need to match up with kind of what you're selling as well. But if you want to know more about audio or anything like that, just send me a message on Instagram or an email. I can kind of give you a list of things that are good to use and good options that are not that expensive, but can really kind of take you from, just using a phone in any old light to, actually creating something that looks pretty good for not a lot of money. So just send me an email or Instagram message. That's fine.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
We've got about time for one more question. If anyone's got one, if anyone's got a burning question, it's going to help them with the business.
I've got one.
Go on.
So I work in a marketing agency and I currently do a bit of product photography for a brand, and I've been wanting to get into videography for quite a while. I didn't know if you've got any, if there's any courses that you recommend massively. It could be physical or online.
So YouTube is a massive resource, but there's a lot of people telling you the same thing, and a lot of people telling you something slightly different. There are some really good paid courses that you can do. A really good one I can recommend, there's a YouTuber called Parker Walbeck, and he does a course called Full-Time Filmmaker. It is about $500, but it's incredibly good, and it literally takes you from picking up a camera for the first time, lighting, audio, and then he even does a bit of business in there as well. His YouTube channel is very, very good. They do kind of breakdowns on shoots, on how they actually put it together, the thought process, things like that. So that's a really good resource. There's YouTube obviously it offers quite a lot. A lot of the video, the people that were doing the tutorials and things like that have just become massive influencers now. So the amount of value they give out is quite small as time goes on. So if you look at their earlier things, there's the big names like, now I think about it, Casey Neistat has put a course out, and it's only about $300. And if there's anyone to learn storytelling from and filmmaking, it's that guy. He literally changed the game.
Yeah.
What was his name? Sorry.
Casey Neistat.
It's a nice start. Yeah, sure. But I think on top of that, Andy, it's about actually getting out there and making, isn't it? Really, and you know.
Yeah, you've got to get out there and actually make something bad, learn why it was bad, and then do it better the next time, and better the next time, and better the next time, and just keep learning. I mean, I've been it's 15, 16 years now, and I'm still learning new things, still developing. You've just got to keep learning.
Yeah, like, and find that community. Andy found it at Apple, I guess, didn't you, at Salford. Kind of find that community of, you know, like-minded people.
Definitely.
The way. We might squeeze another question in quickly. I know we've gone slightly over, but if anyone's got one final thing, then we can take that. If not, then.
So if I can just butt in, Andy, I can't seem to find you on Instagram. Would you be able to send me where you're at?
Yes, it's just hypevisual.co.
Oh, I was still searching up by your name.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
No worries.
Sorry, Andy, quickly, is it good idea to mix pictures in the video?
In my personal opinion, no. I would say video is video and photos are photos, and they serve two different purposes. I think if you're doing, if the video is all photos and it's a bit of a slideshow with a narration, I think that works. But going from a video to a photo back to a video, I personally find it a bit disjointed. I think you can make it work if you go all in on one of them, one or the other. But it kind of, if you're putting photos in with videos, it kind of looks like you're covering something up. But it can depend on your audience. But me personally, if a client asks for it, I say it's not a good idea.
Thank you.
So no photos. Keep it to video. Brilliant. Okay, well, thanks very much, Andy.
No problem.
Some really, really good insight there. I'm sure everyone will agree. And we'll give him a kind of virtual clap. There we go.
Thank you.